Welcome one, welcome all to another glorious day. It is a great day to be great, and if you're going to be great at it. This is the Shutter Saga Podcast. I am your host, Marvin Blue. With me always is a wonderful guest. But before we kick off, this is a listener-supported, fan-supported podcast. It's given to you absolutely free of charge. The quickest way to support the show is to like, share, subscribe to the show, give those 5-star reviews on all Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And, always, feel free to leave the comments, support ideas, anything you want to say. We try to respond to them as much as possible. We do enjoy the fan interaction and the fan support. Also, this show would not be possible without our wonderful sponsors. As always, my OG, go-to day one guys, Cheetah Stands. You guys, you already know what I'm going to say. Cheetah Stands, it's all about your lighting. If you're going to spend all this money on amazing lighting, you need to spend a little bit of money on some stands that's going to protect your lighting. Nothing worse than having that $1,000 light fall over and then your heart gets broken. But if you're going to sit there and protect that lighting and use the proper gear, Cheetah Stands is where it's at. It will stand the test of times. The wear and tear that those things can take on, once you buy one, you're not buying another stand for a very long time. I stand by that. And because Cheetah Stand is so awesome, they are going to give you 10% off. Just go to cheetahstands.com. / Shutter Saga Podcast. If you have any trouble with the link or whatever, just reach out to me and I'll make sure you get hooked up. Our next sponsor this week is going to be 17 Hats. Guys, it's CRM. You always hear to talk about if you're going to run a business, you want to run it smooth, you want to streamline it, and you want to keep it automated as much as possible. You want to look official to your clients. So 17 Hats is where we do that at. You can take care of your invoices, contracts, you name it. 17 Hats will help manage your life and give you back what's the most valuable thing we have is time. So go to 17hats.com to check it out. They're giving a 7-day trial. And if you want to go ahead and jump on board, reach out to me and I can get you 50% off your first year with 17 Hats. And lastly, one of my favorite sponsors, they're new to the board, but we already had the OG, guru on the show, Justin. But Aftershoot, guys, I always say when you edit, I love being a photographer, but the one thing I hated about photography was editing. And Aftershoot gave me back my life and it gave me back my editing. So guess what? Aftershoot.com is where it's at. If you go to Aftershoot and you want to check it out, they have free trials and everything, but reach out to me and I can get you hooked up on a good referral, get you some percentage off and, give you save you a few dollars. But most of all, you're going to get your time back. So just check out Aftershoot.com, check out that trial, reach out to me if you want to get that discount. Okay. So again, thank you for those sponsors. And my guest this week, I'm just going to jump right into it. Okay. She's coming to us from Michigan. So, she's going to bring us that northern heat and everything. A good friend of mine. She's a friend of a friend of a friend. That's how we initially got introduced. But, most of all, when you're a photographer, you're family to me. So she is an affiliate, an ambassador, an instructor, a mom, a wife, you name it. She's got all these different titles, but most of all, she is a photographer. Ladies and gentlemen, I got Sondra LaRay on the line today on the video. Sondra, how you doing? Nah, man, I'm doing awesome. Thanks for coming out today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So right out the gate, we talked about it earlier. You are now, by the time the shows come out, so they just announced it today, but this will be out in a few weeks. But everyone will know by then. But if they don't, you are one of the newest ambassadors of Magmod.
Yeah.
Congratulations to that, guys. Lighting, we talk about if you're gonna do the cool lighting shit that we love to do. Most of us have used Magmod or know someone that uses Magmod. So this, to me, it's a huge deal. I've used Magmod since day one. So yeah, this is awesome, man. Congratulations, well deserved.
Thank you so much. I was really, really excited, super honored. I do a lot of off-camera flash, and I think I've used Magmod the longest, and so it definitely hits home. I'm really excited to be a part of that.
Right. So favorite modifier, I'm just going to put you on the spot right now.
I use their 24-inch Octabox, and that's that's my main softbox I use, but I also use the Mag Sphere and their gels. Those are the three that I use the most for sure.
Nice. I'm actually, I got the beauty dish in my cart. So that's going to be my next purchase. But Westcott just curveballed me by announcing their new lights. So I'm thinking about getting that 800. So I'm on the fence of what I want to get, but I know the beauty dish is on deck. I got the 24 as well. And then obviously when I'm running and gunning, the Mag Boo, Mag Sphere, still call it the Boo, but the Mag Sphere, that is one of my quickest ones to just be versatile. And I use that. I got the XL and the regular size one. So yeah.
Yep, I have both too. I love the Mag Sphere for my sunset photos. Like 90% of my sunset photos, I just pop on the Sphere at the end of the night or at the end of the wedding.
Now let's go right into that because I know you love off-camera flash. What is your favorite thing to do with it? Because that's like what I've known you for is your lighting. So
yeah, So I like to walk into a space and be able to transform that. So it's not like anything that the space really looks like. And so when I walk into a space, I immediately look at the ambient lighting or cool lighting and like, ooh, how can I transform this space? And that's like, I feel like how I come up with those dramatic portraits and poses and things. So a lot of times I will just set my ambient lighting, and then the rest will be dark. And then I'll take gel, like I use Geekoda GT200s, and I'll gel those, and I'll either point them towards a wall or the ceiling and change the background of it. And then, and then I add in my subject light or my rim light and things like that. And so I would say with off-camera flash, I just like being able to have a vision or being able to just alter light and create something that you wouldn't normally see. And that's what I really love doing as far as it goes with like off-camera flash.
Nice. And then I jumped right into it. Forgot to go right back. So how long have you called yourself a photographer?
I would say about 9 years. I've been doing photography. I would say as far as like off-camera flash stuff, really, I would say the last 3 years. I kind of got more involved with that. And I started shooting everything. I had kids, so I was shooting kids, families. There was a moment in time where I was really big into boudoir. And then I shot my first wedding and I was like, I'm a goner. That's it. This is what I want to do. So I strive in chaos, and I feel like wedding days are very chaotic. And so
it is.
That's my passion.
You gotta have a certain level of crazy to do weddings, and people ask all the time, like, how do you do it? It's like, I don't know, and I wish I had like that proper answer, but sometimes I love the chaos, I love the energy, I love the, race against time to get that perfect shot, and did you nail it? That pressure is just, I feed off of that, so I'm right there with you.
Yeah, 100%.
So, of course, everyone's gonna always ask, what's your camera system?
So I shoot Canon. I've shot Canon from day one. And so I shoot with the I have 2 R6s, so those are my main bodies. And then as far as like my go-to lenses, I would say the main ones is my 50 1.2 RF, and then I like to shoot wide a lot, and so I have the 14 to 35 4.0, and those are my main cameras or lenses that barely leave my camera. And then I have like the 70 to 200 and other like the 100mm macro that I'll occasionally throw on there for the ceremony or details and stuff. That's my main stuff.
Nice explain, because I tell people all the time, like 50 and the 85 are like my 2 favorite lenses, but they're the least used lenses, because I find myself having to use the 28C on most wedding days. And then I started playing with the 24 2.8 that came out.
Okay.
That's kind of replaced my 70-200, because I get the best of both worlds, where I can zoom in, but I can't get the 200, but it's okay, because I can just walk forward and make up that distance. But it's a good one. But to be honest, it's not my favorite lens. Like I said, primes are my favorite lenses. I use the 2870 the most. It's the closest zoom prime, as I call it.
Okay.
I enjoy doing that. But going back to, so when you got the wedding bug, what was it about? You said you thrived in the chaos, but when did you have your like aha moment that you were meant to be?
I just feel like during a wedding, for the most part, everybody's just super happy, and it's a fun time, and I feel like it's such a big event that is just so important, and it's a life-changing event. And so there's just so much emotion involved in weddings. And so when I educate and I talk a lot about off-camera flash, but genuinely it's the emotions behind the wedding and capturing those moments. So it's like, you have the bride and groom who are obviously in love and they're getting married. And so there's all of those emotions. If there's the mom and dad or grandparents, a lot of times, sometimes it's like the last time that they see their grandparents, they get to come to the wedding, and kids are always doing weird stuff. And so being able to capture the kids running around and people dancing. And so it was really just like all of the emotions throughout the day, and then being able to capture those for people. And I know that they're going to go back and look at those photos because it's such a big, important day. And then, like you said, just it keeps you on your toes, because there's just so much that happens that you have to be like, okay, what's happening next? So I think that's what really got me.
And then with weddings, there's always that phrase, you have to be the master of moments. So as a wedding photographer, what is your favorite moment?
I would say that's a good question. My favorite moment of the day is a lot of times when the bride and groom do like the first look, like just seeing his like the groom's emotions or his reactions to her. And then I love doing the bridal portraits, like of just the bride and groom together. I'd say those are my favorite parts.
Yeah, first look is definitely one of my favorite. favorite ones too.
Also, like the father-daughter dance, like I'm like crying behind my camera. I can't keep it together. And so it's just, like I said, it's just...
As a girl dad, I would absolutely agree with that. That is, right. And I always say like, I always say that's one of my favorite moments because I've never experienced it yet, and I know that day is going to come, and I know I think about it's going to be when I do it, I'm going to have that replay of every father-daughter dance that I've ever done or captured, right. And I'm just it's going to all those emotions that I've got to witness are going to come out of me. So I already know I'm probably going to tear up. My hope is that I do all the crying stuff before I get to that point. So when I get to the father-daughter dance, I'm just dealing with the dance. Like,
tears will be gone.
The two things I know, like I'm going to have to give 2 speeches, probably one at the rehearsal dinner. That's when I'm going to do the most crying. And then the second one's just going to be a complete, like, hot mic dad. And I'm going to embarrass the hell out of my daughter. That's my goal. Is to just make her regret she gave me a live mic. But I'm going to be nice. It's going to be fun. It's going to be the wave of, like, the humor, the emotion, all that good stuff. Yeah. Father-daughter dance definitely it tugs at my heartstrings.
Yeah.
And so have you ever, my oldest is 18 and my youngest is 7.
Okay. So maybe not too far off.
No, I want 10 years. I want 10 years. Nope. I want 10 more years. I don't want to think about it. She just started college too. So I'm just like, oh God. Yeah. Like, I'm just dreading the day she sends me a selfie and there's a dude in the background. I'm like, who's that guy? It's my boyfriend. Oh my God. I'm mentally trying to prepare for that, but I don't think you're ever really preparing.
No.
But what about you? How do your kids?
I have 3. So I have a 9-year-old boy, 7-year-old boy, and then a 4-year-old girl.
Well, of course, the babies usually run it, and she's got 2 older brothers, so yeah, she's super spoiled.
Yeah, they're always like, do the brothers pick on her? All this, I'm like, no, she picks on them.
Understand when your youngest child is a girl, 9 times out of 10 they're terrorists in training. They literally could be straight up terrorists because like everything they figure it out really fast. Everything revolves around them, and they literally control the entire pacing of the day.
Yep.
It's like, oh, you think we're gonna do this? Watch this, blow out diaper, boom! I'm changing the entire trajectory of the day.
Yep.
Pleasant road trip. Nah, you know what? I think I'm gonna have a toothache. It's time. We're due it for a good toothache. Like, nope. Oh, we're not going to Buc-ee's? Okay, watch this meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So how do you? So what's your key with having kids the age they are, and with the work off tempo that we have as wedding photographers? What have you found to be your go-tos for that work-life balance?
So it's definitely in the beginning it was a little bit easier because they weren't in school. And so during the day, I was able to be home with them. And then, I shoot weddings on the weekends. So it kind of worked out. Now that they're in school, it is a little bit harder because I'm gone on the weekends a lot to shoot weddings. And then I would used to like put them to bed and then I would edit. And so I'd be up really late editing just so I can spend that time with them. And that's like, I'm a huge advocate for after shoot because now like it just saves me so much time with the editing portion of that. So now I can come home from a wedding, pop it in my computer and have after shoot, and edit it right away. And so that saves like that time. So my biggest thing is, I try to, when my kids are home, I try to be present and be there, but also, I have scheduled work time where, I'm editing or going over everything. And like I said, it's a little bit more difficult now that they're in school because I want to spend the weekends with them. So I have scaled back the amount of weddings I'm accepting that I'm shooting. I also have a team that shoots for me. So I have, there's 3 lead shooters and 3 second shooters. And so depending on like the date or, I will have them shoot the wedding as well.
Nice. It's awesome to have a team around you. I'm the same way. Like, if I've got my people that I can reach out to and kind of run things for me if I ever need to take a step away, which I'm starting to try to transition into that phase of my life where it's like, as a company, we can do 40, we're going to do 40, 45 weddings. Mm-hmm. But personally, I maybe shoot 20 of them now.
Right.
Trying to scale back. And I mean, going from someone that was a grinder and a workaholic to now, it's like, what? I want to enjoy it. And the past 2 years taught me a lot about being home and being present. And, when Jaden going through her senior year and graduating, like I didn't want to miss anything because I knew I was going to get that back.
And that's same. I feel like in the beginning, it's so hard to say no to clients or to say no to business, but it is really important to have that work-home life balance for sure.
Yeah. And I remember just like with the early days, just you're trying to build a name and you don't know what direction, or you have a vision of just, I want to be profitable, I want to be in business, I want to make money, obviously,
Right.
and I want to look up and be able to pay, like, the goal for me, just, I want to pay the bills. I want to pay the bills and not worry about it. And then once I got to that, I was like, okay, maybe I should start figuring out this whole running a business thing, because I was kind of, shooting it from the hip. And then as the years went on, I would add to and try to redefine and scale and, everything, to see what works, what doesn't work, and, my work style. And now I'm kind of finally getting it dialed in after 10 years. Now I'm starting to get my sea legs and get like a cruise control. And then of course I want to introduce chaos to it again. Like, let's introduce an associate team. Let's develop more photography. Let me book more weddings, but never shoot them. Like, let me get to that point where now wearing a manager hat, which I still struggle with.
Yeah, I actually got my degree in business because I had a whole different plan besides photography, and then it just switched. And so I tell people, though, like, the business side of things in photography is so important, because you can be a great photographer, but if you don't put yourself out there, if you don't market yourself, it's going to be a lot harder. Whether you could be a mediocre photographer and amazing at business, and you're going to do wonders, you're going to book probably way more. And so just like the business side of things, I think is super, super important to learn.
So with something I love asking people, especially that have the amount of years you have, because we're right there in the same boat with, you're at 9, I'm at 10. What are your, like, top 3 things that, like, you want to, I hate using the term newbies, but new business owners or new photographers breaking into, especially wedding photography, what is your favorite 3 things that you love telling?
I honestly and I wish that I would have done this more too, but if you're breaking into photography, I highly recommend finding somebody's work that you really love or that inspires you, and reach out to them and see if they would mentor you, or see if you can second shoot for them, or see if you can shadow them, because the world of knowledge that you can get so much quicker from actual people in the industry, not everybody is willing to share and have that community, unfortunately, but there are people out there who do foster that. And so I would first highly recommend, especially if you're getting into weddings, you don't want to just dive in because it's such an important day that you can't just reshoot like a family. You're like, oh, I messed up, I'll redo it. You can't do that for a wedding. And so get a couple weddings under your belt where you're shadowing, you're second shooting, or you have that experience. And so that's the first thing. Second thing is education. So like the conferences, WPPI, Shutterfest, imaging, things like that. Attending those conferences was a game changer for me, because one, it's so inspiring. Two, there's so many creatives in one area that you can talk to, you can network with, you can meet. And so I just feel like that's the biggest thing. And then third, I would say learn off-camera flash.
Nice plug.
Because I feel like you don't always have to use it. If you can use natural light, heck yeah, you don't have to get your gear out. But if you walk into a place and it's terrible lighting and you don't know off-camera flash, then you're stuck with that lighting. And so I truly believe that the knowledge of off-camera flash, whether you use it or not, will like up your business tremendously in the industry.
Nice. You hit it right on the money. I mean, I laughed at off-camera flash, like, oh, that's just a great plug for, like, yeah, get someone that can teach you off-camera flash. Like, I was waiting on the plug.
But yeah, I definitely think the biggest thing is like finding someone who inspires you and reach out to them, because you're going to learn a lot. Or if you see something, like, ask. People will share.
And I'll go ahead and put this, what's the word? Not warning, but a disclaimer out there. Don't be afraid to reach out to your heroes. If you find someone that does inspire you, don't be afraid to reach out to them, because you will be pleasantly surprised that there are a lot of kick-ass people that just have awesome personalities and love to share.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. Sometimes you gotta, take a few on the chin where you're like, oh, you thought this person was awesome, and they realize, okay, they're into themselves, whatever, on to the next. Don't take it personal, just keep it moving. Right. Find people that you can gel with, that you love being around, and if they can, whatever you can learn from them, just learn from them and show appreciation, but like, I remember when I first started, I went out there, I wrote out like 15 emails to like the 15 top wedding photographers in Arizona, and only 3 of them got back to me. But I bet you believe I was buying coffee, picking brains. Hey, what are you doing this week? Are you going? I got a free day. You want to go grab lunch? Pick their brain, buy lunch. Networking was key, and not being afraid to put yourself out there. It's, again, a lot of photographers, believe it or not, we like having friends. It can get lonely sometimes when you're editing a wedding and you're just going through and you're grinding and you just feel like you got no one to reach out to, man. It can be a lonely road. But then, that's why when you see the comments, they're like, man, everyone's like, it's like the homecoming, the family reunion, because
yeah, it is.
It's like you didn't see this person all year and you just want to celebrate them and they celebrate you. And it's like a great feeling because you know the grind. They know you're grinding just to see you guys still at it another year and you haven't quote unquote given up or turned, hung up the camera or whatever,
Right, exactly.
That's why I just try to embrace everybody when I'm at Shutter Fest. I try to embrace them so much because I know how hard it is to get to that point every year.
Yeah. And like you said, reach out to your heroes, 100% that, because I remember it was at a Shutter Fest and I was talking to another photographer who I idolized and he's so talented. His social media following is like through the roof and mine is still like, nothing compared to. And so I very much looked up to him and was like, and his work and everything. And so I remember meeting him at Shutterfest and I was like talking with him and he was actually one of the speakers. And he's like, his class was coming up and he's like, I'm so nervous for my class. And I'm thinking, why are you nervous?
Name drop him. I'm going to put you on the spot. Name drop. You're saying good things, so it's okay to name drop him. If you were like, this asshole, then I'm like.
And like, how is this super talented photographer who has beautiful work is nervous for us? It's because we're people. Like, we're all people and we're all the same. Like, and so, like you said, don't be afraid to reach out to your hero. Don't be afraid because ultimately we're all people. We like friends, like you said.
Oh, I had one of my friends right before he was getting ready to teach. I say, "You good? You ready for your class?" He's like, "Bro, I forgot to eat," and I was like, "Hold on!" Now we're into the room. I made him a sandwich, and he's like walking into his class. He's like chowing up. He's like pounding the sandwich. I was like, "Did you really go make him a sandwich?" I said, "Yeah, dude, this dumbass didn't eat anything." And I was like, when you get done, I said, use this as a time. Say, hey, if you guys want to pick my brain, listen, I love tacos. There's a taco truck there. I'm going to go grab it. I said, I bet you mentioned that for one of the food trucks, somebody's going to buy you food just to pick your brain. And he was like, dude, I got so much free meals. Because I told you, man, like, you're in that position. You're on the teaching side. Like, embrace it. Just make sure you pour into them,
Right.
I was laughing at him. I said, how did you forget to eat, dude? He was like, you haven't been a fat boy enough, so because we know. But I'm glad you had that experience. I mean, I remember when I first went to WPP. I tell people all the time, it was during the era where it was all about the rock star photographers. So you were like, there was different levels where it's like, oh, you had the upper echelon and they walk with an entourage and you can see them but you can't touch them, and then you got some that you can get a high five out of them, but then unless you pay for the master class, that's where it ends with them, and then you have some that are just they're happy to be there. They want to they look at you like you're the next generation and they want their stamp and their legacy to be poured into a student, and then if that student's around 5 years later, they could be like, yeah, I had a hand in that developing that. That's who I try to surround myself with when I was coming up, and even today, it's like, being good people. But looking at it, like I use Shutter as an example. With you teaching this year, what got you into the education side of things?
Well, okay, so I actually had a couple photographers who had reached out to me and were asking questions, and so I had mentored them, and then like authentically, like people just kept coming up to me and asking me, and so that's when I decided to create my Facebook group that I have. It's Shooting Your Shot Photography Education, and so I created that. And then that's kind of how I built my associate team. A lot of those photographers who reached out to me are now shoot for me, and they have their own businesses as well, and I'll shoot for them. And so it's very much teamwork. And so we're just constantly, like, it's a community and we're helping each other through that. And so that's how it initially started. And then I really enjoyed like that aha moment of when they just get it and it clicks, especially with Flash, because I feel like Flash can be so intimidating when you first start and so frustrating because you're like, how do you turn the trigger on? Like, I just feel like it's very overwhelming.
How do you know which power to use? Or like just walk it in. Wait, what do you mean walk it in? Start at half power, and if it's too much, break it down. If you have it too, like, and again, I was like, you gotta practice. You can't be afraid to practice. Like, my daughter's been such a guinea pig for me over the years, so I've been very blessed to have daughters that are not afraid to be in front of the camera.
Right, and that's it. And it's like practicing and going out and just doing it. But so that's how it kind of started, was my team, people coming out, reaching out, created this community. And then I applied to speak at a couple conferences, and then it just went from there. And I think my favorite part is like, one, building the community and like, you know, with other photographers. But like I said, seeing that moment when like it clicks and then they take the picture and they're like, oh my God, I took this photo. And so they're so excited. And then also following up with them. So like when I have people in my class, like I follow them, I reach out to them. I'm like, right, because I want to see what they create. Because the other thing is, even if you're learning from somebody, you can have a completely different style than them. But it's the knowledge that you're taking, and then you take it and apply it the way that you want to apply it for your business or your photography. And so a lot of times, you know, when you teach somebody and then they go off to their own and do it, it looks so different than what they were creating in your class or whatever. And a lot of times I'm like, oh my God, like I'm so excited because it's just really awesome to see other people's visions come alive.
So, when was the first time you taught? What was your first teaching experience?
ClickCon, actually, in Chicago. It was Chicago was my first, and then I also do a lot of just like workshops through my own business, and then I taught at WPPI last year, and there's like a PPA chapter. It's PhotoMax here in Michigan, so I did that, and then I'll be teaching at Shutter Fest this year.
I'm excited for you. Yeah, I know you've been to Shutter Fest before, but yeah. I think now you're gonna be on the other side of it, which is teaching. You're gonna be like, this is gonna be like, especially when with most of my friends that I got to be there for the first time when they were on the stage. You know, we always say, you know, hey, your time's coming, because I was like, oh, you know, I didn't get it this year, and, you know, and I like you, I do this stuff locally. I do it, you know, one kind of more one-on-one, but I say, you know, my time will come when it comes, but I get, you know, I get to see a new person go out there, and it's a whole new ball game when you're teaching on the Shutterfest stage.
Yeah.
Definitely excited for you.
Are you going to imaging in a couple weeks?
It's in Dallas. If I didn't show up, at least make appearances, it would be really bad on me. Yeah. How could I not go? I didn't sign up for any classes just because I'm more so going to do a lot of the after hours stuff, and I'm gonna go to the trade show. Okay. That's my plan to do that, and then you know, go hang out with some friends. I know Cheetah Stands is going to be setting up a few things, so I definitely want to come out there and represent them. And I may schedule a pop-up episode. I haven't decided yet. You know, okay. People like, you should do like a pop-up, like come in and just like 5 questions with this person, whatever. And I'm like, everybody's throwing ideas at me. I'm like, dude, again, I was just shocked that we made it through 1 year of podcasting before it. You know, because, you know, you get the ebbs and flows where like some people like, you know, I enjoy it. I'm like, oh, I appreciate it. You know, tell a friend. And then I get some people like, dude, you know, it ain't that good. I'm like, well, then cool. That's fine. Just like, what do you want me to say? Like, I'm sorry. Now I'm saying everyone's like, this is like the love letter to the industry. Like we get to do amazing things as a photographer and have an amazing life. And it's like, I have friends that have done the exact same thing. And it's, you know, this shop talk, and, you know, someone's going to hear this. Now everyone's going to be like, oh, off-camera flash. And since we're talking about it, and you say you use Gikoto, for those that are starting out with off-camera flash and are taking that leap, what is, I guess, your favorite go-tos as far as like when you first get started with off-camera flash? Like, what do you recommend as far as like, hey, you should try it with this one and build off of that? Or do you just say go for it and go for the most expensive pro photo setup possible?
No, I don't say that.
I always want to say, I'm going to be a pro photo one day, and then I look at the price. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make this Westcott shit work.
So I actually will have a link that's like my starter kit that I would use through Gikoto. So it's nice because you can go on there and it's everything that I would recommend to start with. But honestly, I would recommend two GT200s. They're smaller. Usually I have a battery for one, but I don't have the light right next to me. But I shoot weddings, so they're smaller, but they're powerful enough for like everything that I've needed during a wedding day. So I would recommend 2. If you can't afford 2, start with 1. You need a light, a stand, and a modifier. That's all you need to start with off-camera flash. So get yourself a C10 Cheetah stand, a GT200. You can get the 24-inch Magmod softbox, or there's so many different softbox out there. Gikoto has like a really small, like quickie one that's like 20 inches. That's really, really easy to use. Any modifier, literally any modifier. And that's what I recommend. And then you need a trigger. But that's what I would recommend as a startup. If you can afford 2 lights, I would say do 2 lights, because then you can have your rim and your key light. I think it's better to start small if you've never used off-camera flash, because it can be really overwhelming. So if you are just like, all of a sudden, I'm going to do a 7 light setup, you're going to lose your mind.
Yeah.
So start with one light, then you can add in a second light, and then go from there.
Easy, you hit it right there. That's what I said. Start with one light. Keep it simple. If you want to be mobile, like you don't need to pack a bunch of stuff. Because the crazy thing is when I go to the conferences, I see people they have all this stuff, and I'm like, that's great. I don't like carrying all that. So when I see the guys with the wagons, I'm like, dude, I'm not showing up to weddings with a wagon with 8 light stands. And, again, with doing that with no assistant, no second shooter, that is a nightmare,
Yeah.
So it's like, how can I do this and be as versatile? That's something right there with you. Good light stand, whether it's my FJ200 or my FJ400, depending on what I'm trying to accomplish that day. Mm-hmm. And then if I need to be mobile, it's the, MagSphere XL, or I'm putting on the Mag box.
Yeah.
The beauty dish, though, I want to go big. I want to get a 36-inch beauty dish so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just said I think when I was in Atlanta and I was shooting with Francisco, it was just using a 36-inch. It was so awesome. It really was. And the light spray was amazing. So I was like, it wasn't too big to lug around. So I was like, I'm definitely gonna change it up this year and challenge myself. And if scheduling goes right, I'm definitely gonna try to crash your class.
There you go. Yeah.
I always take one good business class, something that I need to work on, which is usually like, last year I was all about virtual IPS, and I'm going to definitely continue following up with that one, and probably take one on like digital marketing as far as like social media, because I'm still the guy that does not like to post just because I don't, I never can. It's not my end all be all. And but I need to get to that point where it's like, you show up to somewhere and they're like, oh, wait, your following isn't that big, but you're good at what you do. Like, why is it that way? Where's the disconnect? And I tell them just because I don't post enough, and I know it.
Right.
I may post once a week right now, but I'm trying to get to where,
I think that a lot of photographers are in that boat because we want to just take pictures. We want to do what we want to do. We don't want to be on social media posting and things like that.
And it's more so focused on I'm so focused on the client that just one of those I could care less. And I have so much content that I can post and so many BTS behind the scenes and stuff like that. I don't do it. I don't.
Yeah, it's so essential for our business, I feel like, for the client side, and if you're an educator for that side as well. So what I've recently started doing, which after the holidays, like I've been slacking, but Mondays, that's my social media day. And so I will schedule it out for the entire week. I create my reels for the entire week. I don't post my reels. I don't schedule my reels out because I like to collaborate with people or companies. And so I do have to post those every day, but I'll put them in a folder. They're all created, ready to go. And that's been really beneficial for me. But then the biggest thing is I feel like social media can be so overwhelming. And as much as it is essential for our job and what we do, it's also important to not let that overwhelm you as well. So if you need to take a step back for a week or two, take a step back. Like, it's not going to completely destroy anything. You know what I mean? But I do think that you can be extremely successful if you're using social media as a tool.
Absolutely. Like, don't get addicted to the likes as far as like, why didn't this picture get enough likes, or why did it only get 50 likes versus this one? This one got 200. What did I do wrong here? Did I not tag someone properly? Dude, I don't have an answer for you. Just, I always say it's like showing up. Social media is a lot like showing up. If you show up consistently, you're going to get people are going to see it, and the right people are going to see it.
Yeah. I posted, I've been doing a lot more behind the scenes and stuff. And I posted a reel that was sports photography, which I've been starting to get more into that as well. And it was this kid, he was sliding into home base and he scorpioned. And I got the picture and I got the behind the scenes, and I debated posting it because I'm a wedding photographer and I don't really post a lot of sports, but I was like, it's something to post. So I posted it. It went like mega viral. It's at like 26 million views. ESPN reached out. They shared it. A whole bunch, like House of Highlights shared it. A whole bunch of these like major things. And here I am thinking, should I even post this? Because this isn't what I do. Like, don't overthink it, because you never know what video might just pop off or go viral. Because I definitely did not think that would have happened. But if I didn't post it, it wouldn't have happened. So
that's the same way, like much like with weddings, like sometimes I question, should I post this, should I post that? And then I end up just posting just a simple like walking down the aisle shot that was really cute. And I get an inquiry for that from that picture. I'm like, how'd you find me? Oh, I saw the picture you posted of the girl walking down aisle with her dad or whatever.
Right.
And you said, best Father's Day wedding ever, something in regards to Father's Day. I said, oh, okay, cool. And I asked her if she knows, she said, no, I don't know, but I'm getting married at that venue. And
Yeah.
because you tag the venue, I'm always following the venue. And then because I tagged the venue, then the venue reshared it and put it on their stories. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't give it a second thought, but then it's like that led to a booking. I was like, well, something that took 2 minutes out of my day landed me a booking and was absolutely free.
Exactly. And I'm glad that you mentioned like tagging the venue, because 100% tagging the venue, tagging all of the equipment that you use. That's how you get seen in the industry. That's how brides can find you.
I'm notoriously don't do that with the gear stuff. Like I always try to like, oh, I'm gonna tag Canon. Like it was like, why do you tag Canon? I was like, I just because people like to ask what I use, or I'll get, hey, what camera did you use? Like, and I want to say so bad, like having a great camera is fine, but you still got to know what you're doing. So it wouldn't matter if I was using a Canon or a Nikon or a Nokia or Fuji or whatever or Panasonic. I know how to do it with any camera. That's the point. So, but I still tag it just out of just one to piss people off as far as like being funny with it. Like, oh, you can't pull it off unless because I use Canon. So they're like, all my Nikon friends like, yeah, you can't pull off unless you're using a Canon, man. I'm going to tell you. And then they just make a joke and say, if it was Sony, it'd be super orange,
And one thing that I didn't ever think about that I'm like, how did I not think about this? The designer of the dresses.
Ooh, you know what? I notoriously forget to do that.
Yeah, I had like the huge wedding dress designer reach out because I didn't tag her because the bride tagged her or tagged them. And I was like, I've never thought of that. Like, how do I, so the venue, the floral, the DJ, all of those things.
The planner. Yeah, the caterer. Yeah, like I have it in my email. I do email my brides and send me a list of all their vendors that are part of their wedding. And even if they just give me the business name and not their social media, I make that list. And then whenever I get ready to post, I just have it all on that sheet. Luckily that's where 17 Hats comes into play because I can organize it. And I just literally will pull everybody's like. But again, that's why I struggle so much, because I know when I post, I have to do all these extra things. It isn't just, hey, cute selfie, boom, picture of my coffee, we're good. That's on the personal side, but on the business side, you have to do these extra steps. So I think that's where I feel as a business owner to do that extra steps, because I just like don't feel like doing it. And that just really comes down to laziness, really. But I mean, I like what you're doing when you say you take the Monday and just make your entire day. So I got to definitely dedicate a day out of the week, which I think Monday would be a good one. Monday nights.
Right. And if you just dedicate that day and that time, even if it's not the whole day, if it's 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever it is, it's still going to be more than what you're doing now if you don't have time set aside. And that really has helped me. And then, like you said about tagging, posting anything is better than nothing. So if you're having a week where you're like, I don't have the time, I don't want to do this, post without tags. You're still posting, you're still getting it out there. It's better to do tags, but if you don't have it in you, don't do it,
Yep. And then also I tell people all the time, if you don't know what to post, like on what day, just create theme days. You got Wide Angle Wednesday. We do First Dance Friday, or First Kiss Friday, or First Dance Friday. We'll do if you're a boudoir photographer, people love to do Tushy Tuesdays, or Tushy Thursdays.
There you go. And the other thing I realized too, I used to, when I'd have a wedding and I would post sneak peeks, I would post them all. Like I would just post, here's your sneak peeks. And I don't do that anymore, because now I can take a wedding and I can get a week to 2 weeks worth of content for social media by not posting it all together. So not posting 40 pictures in one thing, by posting 3 pictures, like first dance or ceremony or portraits. So you can take one wedding and split up those moments and have content, a lot more content.
Yeah, definitely. Right, man. We say now we're talking shop. Johnny, if you're listening to this, I hope you're taking notes. So let me ask, 9 years in, bona fide wedding photographer, you're coming into your stride. What's kept you motivated throughout the years?
I just love what I do. I love shooting weddings. I get excited. Like when I get an idea and I want to create something. I get equally as upset if I can't create what I want to create. But honestly, I have a true passion for photography. I have a true passion. I'm a people person. I have a true passion for working with other people and capturing things. And so for me, I would definitely say that is what keeps me going is that, and the fact that like with weddings, you have like the same events, you can, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, but none of it's the same. Like it's all different. And so just meeting all these new people and seeing those, like, is just really, I haven't been burned out from it yet, I guess.
And who were your early influences, and then who do you consider your new influences now as time has gone?
So I would say as far as like off camera flash, like getting into that, Esteban Gil was one of the people I looked at his work and I was like, how is he doing this? Like he's using flash. So I would say that like in the beginning of using it, he was definitely like an inspiration of like seeing his work. And now, oh my gosh, there's so many photographers that I look up to or that I just think have like beautiful work. Jeff Tisman, he's so creative and outgoing, and like his work has so much personality behind it, and because that's who he is. And that's the other thing I say, like, you have to be genuine to yourself and who you are when it comes to photography, because my best friend and we work together very closely, but she also has a photography business. It's Carrie Ann Photography, and she is more subtle, laid back, whereas I'm like more outgoing. And so we run our businesses completely different, but that's our strengths. So if I tried to run my business like Carrie ran her business, I would fail. If she did it, she would feel awkward. So, but Jeff is so good at creating this or capturing this personality and getting it out of people. And so I love seeing his work. Helen and Neil, I don't know if you're familiar with like the Flash Masters. Their work is beautiful. Oh, there's so many.
That's the one that gets everybody, when I put him on the spot, I was like, who influences you? Like, oh crap, why don't you go?
I like Rafael Serrano, his long veil.
Boy, yes. I always say there needs to be, they talk about bride wars or photo wars, or they're both in Dallas. I gotta somehow facilitate this war that needs to happen. And this needs to happen for the industry. I need to do Rafael Serrano versus Michael Anthony, the veil off. That's what it needs. I don't care if I gotta self-fund this thing. That is like between the two of them have been like, when it comes to veil shit, like, man, like I feel like all of us are chasing that.
I'm over here like shaking the veil. Yeah. Like it doesn't look swoopy like
it doesn't. And it's like, and the thing is, I've been there with both of them behind the scenes, watching them do it and seeing them pull it off, and then I turn around and try to do the same shit, and it's like, photography will literally test your ego on a daily basis, because you can like, and I said Shutterfest is the prime example, because how many times have we all gone to that second floor and everybody came out with a different picture and everyone's just
yeah.
Or go to the lighter floor and then watch somebody, and somehow yours came out differently. This person did it. How did they see that? And that's it. But that's the beauty of like when you get around creatives, man. It pushes you. Like, and Jeff is a great example of that, where he sees it. So you're like, how did he see that? Like, how do I go into the brain of that mad genius and pick that? Do you ever find yourself like when you get into those ruts, like, how do I get those out of those?
Another one is, and I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's like Matteo Carda or something. His work, oh my gosh, he captures emotion so well. Like every photo I see of his is just packed full of emotion, and he gets really close to his subjects. And I think that also takes a different type of photographer to feel comfortable to like get in there and get involved. And so when I look at his work, I'm constantly just in awe of it, because he's very good at capturing emotions and getting in the moment, I feel like.
Definitely. I think that especially with on the wedding side, we're gonna be picky today and talk about wedding photography, and sorry about all the other genres, but that's what, you got two wedding photographers, we're gonna talk about weddings. But I think that's the thing, people get so focused on, I want to have a cool portrait, I want to do this, I want to do that. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, the core of it all for me is, did I tell that couple's story? Did I tell the story that when they look back at that album, did you lose me? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. My editor's gonna have a field day. So now what I was saying was, did I tell the story? So it's like, it's one thing to take an amazing portrait, get all the likes and everything on Instagram. We love that. But for me, did I tell that story? Did I create that album, that storybook for that client or that couple? And then when they're looking at it 10 years from now, when they're showing their kids, when they're showing their grandkids, it's like, did I tell it in a way where people can relive that through the images? No words is being said, just we're looking at images, and you were told a story. And I think that's always been my goal. And that's what I still to this day strive for. Like that's where I get my high from is, when I create that album and I know I told a story. Like I can go back to a wedding I did 5 years ago and I feel like I've, just shot that yesterday because I did the job of being able to tell that story. So that's where I put that pressure on myself for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. And it's like, yeah. And then, yes, I took a lot of cool pictures too at the same time. But it's like, it's never been about like, did I get the perfect veil swoop? And did I do, I learned this trick with it. Let me try to get some mist and some fog and do this. And it's fun to do that. Yes, I got the perfect shot. They had a Rolls Royce getaway car and I was able to get this amazing night shot with the Rolls Royce with the headlights on. And that's great. But did I capture that one where she looked at her mom after she put on her dress and that mom, had that tear down the eye? Did I capture that moment and tell that story? Did I tell that story between the relationship she has with her sisters or her best friend? Did I tell the groom's story or, with him and his brothers or his dad or whatever? Did I honor the missing parents when they took time out of their wedding to honor the parents that weren't there? Did I make sure I captured that and told that story about, the wish you were here moment? Or did I just, miss that moment for them? There's a lot of pressure that, again, I'll continue to put on myself, but it's totally worth it.
Right. I mean, 100%. Like I'll walk into a venue and I'll see cool lighting and I'm like I want to do that. The day doesn't call for it. And so I don't push for that. Like as much as I can envision that and be like, I want this photo, that's not my main priority. Like you said, it's capturing their day and their moments. And if time allows for that, absolutely. If it doesn't, it doesn't, because we're hired to capture their day. We're hired to get those moments for them. And like I said too, I've had so many brides or people reach out because they lost a loved one. And one of my photos was the last photos that they had of them. And nobody knows it at that moment. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But to be able to, like you said, capture those emotions and looking back and being able to feel those, you hang beautiful pictures on your wall and things like that. But when they go back and look at those emotional moments, that's what they're going to feel for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've made it a point now if it's brought to my attention that a former client has lost a loved one and I know, say for instance, I had a bride lose her dad, I went through the gallery, I printed out a couple of 8x10s for them, and I just let me just create something for them real quick.
Yeah.
And I sent it to him. Same thing with another client. He lost his father. I printed out a picture. All I said was, "Hey, check your mail. It's coming in me in a couple of days." He's like, "What's going on there?" And I didn't do it. I didn't I didn't create a behind the scenes. I didn't do the, hey, watch me make their day and make them. It was, if they want to post about it, they post about it. If they don't, they don't. It's never been about I do this for clout. And not do it because it's, those are memories that, again, we're keepers of memories. We create these moments with these people and we were there to capture that. Just to me, I do it because it's a cool thing to do.
Right. And at the end of the day, we're all human. We all go through these things. And so to show support in the ways that we can, I think that means a lot. And I'm sure that they absolutely love that you took the time to show them that you care. You took the time to give them something extra. And I feel like there's nothing that beats that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We got all emotional. So real quick, are you coming to Dallas in a couple weeks for imaging? You are gonna be okay. I guess I gotta show up now. God, too many of y'all showing up now.
Pressure.
No.
I'll peer pressure you to it.
Well, no, I was I was gonna come for the after hours, so I'm trying to, because I got that week it's a busy week anyways for me. But I'm gonna definitely make time to come for the after hour stuff, grab dinner with people and stuff. And, I just don't want to get tired out because I know we got WPPI coming up and I got a stacked schedule for that one, and then obviously Shutterfest is the week I don't sleep.
Yep.
I've not been slumberfish to this day. No, won't let it happen.
I have not either.
Yep. Oh no, it's gonna happen. I refuse to fall asleep publicly. I don't care how tired I am. I will pound coffee and then I'll crash in the room, but I will not crash out on the couch. If I get a suspect yawn, I walk away. I'm not gonna get caught. I refuse.
I sat in one of those comfy chairs last year and I was like, no, not doing it.
I've busted people in the hallways before because they got locked out of their room, so they just fell asleep in the hallway because they were so exhausted. I'm like, oh, I gotta do it. I don't want to, but I have to. How could I not? But Vegas is always a fun one for me. I do a lot of more networking, and then I just try to be a part of cool shoots and everything. Mm-hmm. And then I'll catch the few classes that I seem interesting. I try to catch those when I can. And Shutterfest is just pray your class is available. pray for it. Because it's every year it happens. It's like, oh, this is the class I definitely want to take. And then it's like you look at it and you look at the schedule like crap. They put Sondra right there next to all the other killers, and you're like, oh. And then you're going to be the newest going, please, people show up. Just please let me have more than 10 people.
Like anytime, I'm just like, oh God, please.
It was like, would you get mad if your class was unpacked? I'm like, no, that just means I could be more focused. And I'll tell them to say, take advantage of it. If you only got 10 people, focus it on 10 people and give them the greatest experience ever. If two of those people say, hey, you know what? Mentor me. There you go. Then it was all worth it. That's how I look at it. So, but I tell people, be open to learn from anyone and everyone. And I was, especially like a Shutterfest even, or any of the conferences, I say they did something right to become an instructor. Take it for face value of you're in good hands. Now, if they completely just blow screw the pooch on it, then I get you, be fresh, but give people, especially if you've never been in their presence, give them a chance.
Right. And even if you don't agree with like what they like do, you can always learn something that you can take away. You can even be like, well, I'm not doing that. Like you learned that that's not something that you don't think you want to do with your business too. Hopefully you take something away that you can use.
Absolutely.
But I definitely think that you can learn from everybody, honestly.
Yeah, good and bad and indifferent. I've learned some of my best lessons were people that literally said something that I thought was complete bullshit. Mm-hmm. I figured out a piece of that I could apply, or there is some value behind it, but like the whole like get as much, like when I remember just having an instructor tell me the goal is to get as much money as you can guarantee. He's like, I don't worry about sales, I don't worry about any of that. He goes, I try to make sure I'm getting $6,000-$7,000 up front. He said, that's my guaranteed money. He goes, because they may show up and not buy a damn thing. And now if I'm one of those people that say, well, I reduce my prices so I can make bigger sales, he's like, I don't do that. He was like, I don't even care about sales because I'm getting $6,000 up front. And I was just like, nah, do you? He's like, no, I don't worry about selling. I was like, so do you sell any products? He's like, no. If they mention that, I can tell them, hey, I'll put it in your package, and the package just gets bigger. He goes, but everything is like guaranteed upfront money. That's how I do it. He's like, but most of the stuff doesn't include any product. But you don't think you're leaving money? I kept going. I just kept asking questions. You don't think you're leaving money on the table? He's like, no, I don't care. He's like, because I know I got this much up front. That's all I care about is getting all the money I can up front. Mm-hmm. He's like, because after everyone's paid for their wedding, they don't want to spend another $2,000 on an album. I'm like, but I've had people do that though. So I disagree respectfully, but we kind of were trading back and forth. And I just was like, we're going to agree to disagree on this one. Like you have your belief and that's great. I have my belief that you can make money after.
And that's like that's the thing of it. It's like everybody's going to run their business different. Everybody has like an opinion, and what works for someone might not work for somebody else. But that's the thing. Like it's your business to, run it like what works for you, but be open. Like be open to learning, be open to new ideas, and being open to try it and see if it works. If you try it and you hate it, or you just know like, nope, this is not what I want to do. It's your business. You know what I mean? Run it how you think that you is going to be successful for you and your clients.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Except for natural light photographers, fuck those guys. I'm kidding. I'm just making a joke. We all use natural light. I like teasing the people that. I like teasing the natural light photographers that scoff at the off-camera flash people.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we've got to wait for all you guys to set up your lights. I already got the picture. I'm like, okay, cool. Watch this.
So there's one of my good friends. I met him this year. Actually, it's Josh Hoggett he lives in Australia. And he's like, you're telling me you bring stands and flashes to all of your shoots? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I don't got time for that. I'm not dealing with stands. I'm not dealing with lights. And he is just like, so it's an ongoing joke. His work is beautiful. He's an amazing photographer, but it's our banter with each other.
I've got some great friends that are amazing natural light photographers, and we give each other shit all the time. It's good. It's just good old fun. Like they always say, hey, here's my impression of Marvin when he travels for a wedding. Hey, anybody in this town got a light stand I can borrow? I was like,
yeah.
Why we got? Because that has happened where I couldn't travel with they didn't let me bring the stand or whatever, so I had to like, hey, I'm gonna be in Milwaukee. I need a light stand. Who's in Milwaukee that can borrow a light stand? But if you go with cheetah stands, they'll mail one out to you, and they'll rush it. They're like, they'll mail it to the hotel you're staying at and then just tell you to mail it back.
They're amazing. They really are.
Absolutely. And they don't break. That's the key thing. The stands don't break. And I put my stands to a lot of shit. I think I was joking. That's the toughest thing with doing off camera flash or whatever, yes, the travel point. Like when I gotta hop on a plane, it's like, I really like. I think Godex is the only one that's made one that I like, is that hard case light stand one. I know some guys that use golf club. They use golf club.
Oh yeah.
They'll use those. Some people will buy those bags that are padded. So there's different ones you can use, but there's a hard case one I think Godex, but they're always like out of stock. So
yeah, Gikoto, when I'm traveling, I use my Gikoto stand. They have one that is really compact that'll fit in a travel, like a carry-on. And so that's nice. And then, like I said, they also have like a 20-inch quickie softbox that's really small. So if I'm traveling, that's what I'll use.
The question is, can it hold the weight? That's my biggest concern, because I know there's a lot of light, compact ones, but then as soon as you put that, like, if you put anything heavier than like an FJ200 on it, that thing is tipping.
Yeah. See, I use GT200, so they're pretty small. I don't use anything big, so I can't say whether it would or not. Because I use more smaller lights, but definitely try. But yeah, that's a big thing of trying to get it to fit into the suitcase. But if Charles and David are there, then they'll hook you up.
Oh, anytime I go to a conference, I know they're gonna be there. I'll call them in advance and, hey, can you bring an extra? And that's what I needed. Like, I got you, bro. I'm like, sweet. How many times have I bought a stand from them and they just say, hey, just bring it back to Dallas for me?
Yeah.
I think I've done that twice now. But yeah. Man, nah. Oh, wow, we already hit an hour. I track of time. I knew it was gonna happen, so we're gonna start talking shop and everything. Sondra, where can everyone find you at on social media?
So everything's pretty much Sondra LaRay Photography. So on Instagram, Facebook. I have a TikTok as well. I'm not super active. I don't even know if that's gonna be a thing anymore. I'm not super active on my TikTok, but yeah, Sondra LaRay Photography. Also have a Facebook education group, and that's Shooting Your Shot, Sondra LaRay Photography. Yeah.
Nice, and I'll make sure we plug all your social media, the Facebook group, which is a great group. It's a great resource. If you're new to Flash, if you're new to off-camera Flash, or if you just want a good support system, like I said, you cannot go wrong with surrounding yourself around like-minded individuals. That's how you will get better, and you can do it in the safest way possible, where you don't have to feel I'll speak for, I don't want to speak for Sondra, but I'll speak for myself. When you were first learning how to become wedding photographers or just photographers in general, the groups were so, vicious, because it's like, oh, you should know this stuff. He's like, I don't know it. I didn't know the difference between crop sensor and full frame. I didn't know any of that stuff. I just knew that this camera was on sale at Best Buy, and I fucking bought it, and I was going to take awesome pictures. That's all I knew, and that's where I built it at. But, I guess it's a safe space, if you will. Like, people, if you want to ask the quote-unquote dumb question, no one's going to give you shit for asking that quote-unquote dumb question. But really, the dumb question is the questions you don't ask, but you know you need to ask it. So, I mean, it's nothing. There's no shame in saying, hey, how do you know what power to put your flash at when you first set it up, or how far, away do you usually set your flash up from your subject? And it's like, what's the difference between a softbox and a beauty disc? What's the difference between this modifier and that modifier? What are, people talk about color correction. What does that mean exactly with gels? Like, just, ask those questions. And, if someone comes on and says, oh, that question been asked 1,000 times, it's like, congratulations, I just asked it 1,001. So I don't care.
And I have people who reach out and they're like, I have a really probably dumb question. And then they ask, and I'm like, the first thing I say is like, that's not a dumb question. I'm like, I've asked that question. We've all asked that. We all start somewhere. And that's the way that you grow. And at least in my education group, like, zero tolerance for people being rude, or like, if you ask a question and if there is something rude, like, you're getting booted, because everybody starts somewhere. They're asking because they want to grow and they want to get better. So they're asking for help. If somebody's asking for help, you don't belittle them. And there is a lot of photographer groups that are like that, and where you are going to get very positive other photographers helping out. But there's always that one person sometimes. So just ignore them.
I would say, if I get a chance to see them in person, I'm trying to junk punch them, because I'm a good old fashioned junk punch, because, it takes too much energy to be an asshole these days.
I never comment on them or anything. I just shy away. But I do enjoy reading the people who do comment on them.
I always say, you better pray I'm not bored that day, because I'm one of those guys, like, I'm not gonna give them the time of day. But then there's some days where, you know what, I do have the time, and I do feel petty today, and I do want to take the low road, and I do want to be a little bitter. Let me unleash 7 years of frustration on you there, sir. It's like, first off, and just start, boom. I got 10 minutes to kill.
We have one of the photographers, one of my associates, we call him Batman. He's like super protective. Anytime there's like anything like that on the internet, he's like, I got you.
I'll be the bad guy.
Yeah.
No, it's like I'm like that with my photographer friends that are instructors, because what I don't like is, like, first off, I always say education is hard, and then teaching is hard. This is coming from a former high school teacher, so I'm like, teaching in general is hard. That's why not everybody can be a teacher. And I said, just because you're a good photographer doesn't mean you're meant to be teaching either. You know, some people suck at teaching, but the people that are out there and they are putting out genuinely good content or whatever, my thing is just like the people that do these harsh criticisms that are uncalled for, you know, or they just start, they're coming from a place that isn't genuine. Like, that's when I start, you know what, I got to defend my friend. I'm not going to let you, you know, ruin their reputation or besmirch their good name, because I've watched them literally pour into dozens, if not hundreds of photographers. I've got to witness that. That's why I appreciate them, because I've got to get a front row seat to watch them do this and change lives. You're not going to sit there and tell me that person's, you know, this or that or whatever. And I've watched them change the life of this person, that person, people that relate to my story. And, you know, they have the kids and they just want to make enough money to support their, you know, for the kid. Or, as I said recently, dude, I just want to make, I'm at a point where I just want to make sure I'm making enough money to put my daughter through college, you know, that she gets through college and she doesn't have to have a full-time job while trying to go to school full-time and, you know, eating ramen and struggling and stuff because I could only give her $50 this week, you know, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, no, she's well taken care of because of the work that I've been putting in these years. And so when I see people that go after the people that don't really deserve it, it's like, come on, dude, enough is enough, you know. Like, where are you really coming from with that? So that's when, you know, that's when I will step out and be like, not let that happen. Especially if I see it in front of me. Like, it's like, I speak up on that. But most of the time I just sit back and look at the entertainment because, you know, the industry is big enough and, you know, some people, they've been made to be untouchables.
Yeah.
The other thing is also this is the guy in me being a Southern boy. I don't like it when I see guys try to attack women. It's like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
No, because at the end of the day, she's a mom, she's a wife, and I'm, you know, my wife is, I'm like this. I'm protective over my wife and my daughters, and I'm a protector by nature. And I'm like, dude, at the end of the day, she's probably got a husband that can fucking kick your ass. So, like, just mind your P's and Q's, bro. Like, you know, watch what you're saying about people, because it's like, you know, someday they might have a husband that has time today. Says, you know what? Oh, you know what? I'm going to go to Shutterfest today, and I've got my list. And they just walk around. It's like, yo, dude, what happened? Some guy just walked up, hit him in the eye. And said, oh, and then went back and junk punched him because he said he heard Marvin say junk punch on a podcast. He's like, who did I make fun of? Now, that would be the day, though. But I always say, again, you got the internet badasses, the people that are behind the keyboards, and then it's like they say what they say, and then they get around you in real life, and then they don't. I always say, if you don't like me and you want to be public on it on Facebook or whatever, great. You're gonna see me at probably 3 or 4 conferences. Please keep that same energy, but don't talk shit and then turn around and try to sit at the same table with me and my friends, thinking that's all good. Like, nah, dude, you told me about, you called me a fake ass Joe Rogan, bro. I remember. You said my podcast was a joke, son.
Yeah.
Go listen to it now. No, we have, again, it's just, you know, it's all the good fun and whatever, but it's like, you know, the people that literally put in the energy to be, you know, me. It's like, why?
Right.
You're killing yourself internally, and for what, you know, because you were edgy in that moment. Who cares, man? At the end of the day, people are still going to keep doing what they're doing and, you know, get better, and you're going to be that person that got bitter.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, in the group, I actually haven't had, like, in my education group at least, I haven't had really any negative comments that I've had to
I haven't seen any.
Yeah. So I'm really thankful for that. It seems to be a really great bunch of people. Because like I said, if I did see it, definitely wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, once you hit like 5,000 members, that's when you'll see it. I feel like the smaller groups are good. It's like once we hit 5,000, we're screwed.
Yeah.
This group became big. We can't manage it because there's going to be too many, because, you know, it's going to spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Shut up. LA. Yeah, I know. I should have used a different term. Damn it, that's what's going to get the podcast canceled. Yeah. That one. All the shit I pulled off this year, this is the one that gets me. I mean, it's so funny when I first started this. They say, "Are you gonna worry about like people getting pissed about what you say?" I was like, "Nah," because I've said a lot of crazy shit, and I'm gonna keep saying it, and I'm gonna have fun doing it. And just say, you know what? If you hate the show, don't listen. You know, I've learned over like, do I have like this vision of like 1 million followers? No, don't care. This is, again, friends talking shop. You know, sharing information. We're having fun, and you know, it's good to catch up and
I think that's what people are drawn to, though, is like the realness of it. It's, we don't want this pretty perfect, that's not real. That's not who we are. That's not, they want to see the realness. They want to see the struggle. They want to see that they're not alone.
Yes. It's like they want to know how many wedding photographers pound like 2 glasses of whiskey as they're like backlogging all their files from a wedding. Going, whoa. It's like, yes, I have done that. I have gotten drunk after a wedding in the front of the computer because it was a long day, and I needed that drink in the worst way.
I'm passed out. I'm like, I'm hitting the bed. I'm out.
It's so crazy. It doesn't. I don't care how tired. If I don't back up my file, if I don't take, if I don't do at least one type of backup before I lay down, I can't sleep. Like, I'll literally be in the bed and I'll just be like, I gotta go back. Let me just go take 20 minutes and do this real quick, and let me get it on
and then I'm out.
Yeah, let me just get it on an external hard drive real quick, and then I can go to sleep. That's all. Like even if I'm at a hotel and I'm doing an out of town wedding or something, it's I gotta take them off the flash. I gotta put it on the hard drive. I gotta put it on the laptop, and then I can go to sleep. And I'll just do that real quick. Obviously I haven't formatted the card, and I just have to do it.
Right. You never know. It's better to just not have to run into that scenario. You know what I mean? So like first thing, get home, back them up. I have energy, throw them through after shoot, and then I can go into bed while it's doing its thing.
Absolutely. I've literally seen people that show up to a wedding. Like, I was a guest, I was a guest at the wedding, and I heard the second shooter going, "Hey, I needed another memory card." He was like, "I can't." He goes, "We'll just format the one you got." He goes, "I can't because I shot the wedding on that yesterday. I haven't backed it up." And I'm like, "What the?" Like that's where I go. Like this is why I do this, because I've heard these stories. I'm like, "You didn't do what? Like you didn't back up your files, but then you should okay, one, why do you not have multiple cards? That's problem one. It's great to have a 512 gigabyte SD card, but you might want to have 3 or 4 of those bad boys because that one gets corrupted or whatever, just.
You never know. And that's why you should shadow before doing it.
Exactly. And ask questions. Hey, what's crazy things have happened at yours? Like, dude, I've had when my camera couldn't buffer in time or whatever, and you miss shots, or you lose shots because you turn the camera off while it's still buffering because it doesn't have a fast writing card. I found out there was a painful lesson I learned back about 7 years ago. I want to say I was using cards that didn't write fast enough, so I would turn around and shoot like rapid, put the shutter on, do 11 frames, 15 frames per second, and I would do that and everything, but then it was still trying to write it to the card. And then what happened was, my habit was I'd do it, put it down, and I would cut the camera off. And I don't know why I was doing it, because there was in the era where I was trying to conserve batteries. Yeah, and I was trying to conserve batteries, so I would never keep the camera on. Now I got a battery grip. It's like, again, you learn the lesson the hard way. Like, I get a battery grip so I can keep the camera on the entire day and not even worry about turning it off.
Yeah.
And I buy extra batteries,
Yeah.
If I go to a wedding, I got to have at least 6 batteries. It's not because I'm going to run. I know I'm going to use 2, but, just in case one battery goes bad, I got a backup.
I was shooting a wedding, and I had started with portraits of the groomsmen because the bride wasn't there yet. And my it's not taking the picture, and I'm like panicking. I have backups, and I have I have 2 cameras on me, and I have my backups, but it's not taking the picture. And I never want to have that come across to my clients, because that's not a great way to start your day out. And so I'm sitting here like, oh my God, what is happening with my camera? I'm like freaking out. Internally, keeping it together externally. And my second shooter, Blake, he's like, "Here, give me your camera. I'll walk away and look at it." Well, I had forgot the night before I was shooting, the Northern Lights were out, and I was shooting them. My husband was helping me, but I was shooting them myself, so I had my timer on. So was hitting my shutter, it was waiting 10 seconds to go off, so it wasn't taking the photo, and I'm here playing with what is happening? He's like, "Sondra, your timer is on." I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, things happen.
We have brain farts. We are human. Yeah. I think they would say, have you ever, your greatest fear, you show up to a shoot, ready to take a shoot, and then you go to the back of your car and realize you forgot your cameras.
Oh my
God. You left your bag at home. And it's like, that one, or you show up, forgot your memory cards because you forgot to you were doing something, forgot to put them in your bag, whatever. So now it's like you just go through your checklist, make sure everything's there, do your checklist, check it twice, because we all do it, we're all human. We all we forgot to put more batteries on the charger the night before or something.
For another embarrassing story while we're spilling.
Yes.
So I have the R6s, and I probably had these at this point at least a year, maybe. and I'm at WPPI, and we're at like a get together that people are shooting. Do you know Arno from the Netherlands? Arno de Brugian.
That name sounds very familiar. I think I've seen him in passing.
He's a super cool guy and super talented. He was there, and I was like trying to show him a picture that I had taken. So I'm like showing him my screen, and he like takes my camera and like puts it up to his eye, and I'm like looking at him, and like he ends up walking away. And so then I put my camera, and you can see the photo in the viewfinder and the eye finder. And I didn't know that for like a whole year, that you, instead of looking at the screen, you can put it up to your eye and you can see it in your camera. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like things like that. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, don't even get me started, because I've like recently someone said, I'm gonna do some double exposure. I'm like, dude, I still have yet to like, I want to play. That's one of those when I have a slower day and I want to be, I want to really do some double exposure stuff. But man, it's like that is a form of art that I am not ready for.
I was actually just playing with that, the Peculiar conference. They had like the shooting bays where you could walk around. And so I was like, I don't, when I'm at conferences, I like to take it all in versus like, I don't shoot a lot really, but I had my camera on. So I'm like, how can I play? And so I put on my double exposure, and some of them I'm like, yeah, that didn't work at all. But other ones I'm like, okay, that was cool. So I feel like it's one of those things that's really fun to play with. If you have the time. Yeah,
absolutely. Like, and like so with conferences, I said take it. Like I've had to tell people, I actually was on like this is me on my pedestal last year. I told people, stop trying to be the perfect photographer at a conference. I said, be the perfect photographer outside the conference. At the conference, be that fucker that doesn't know what he's doing or he or she is doing. Be that person that, is trying to figure it out. Be that, forget your insecurities. Just be that student, because this is the time to make the mistakes. This is the time to say, oh, I messed this up. How do I fix this? Oh, this didn't come out right. What can I do differently? Do that now. Don't do that in front of your clients.
Exactly.
Don't let off-camera flash in front of your clients be the first time you try to off-camera flash. Make all the mistakes there. Like have those blown out, overexposed pictures at the conferences, and then have someone like Sondra walk you in and show you how to properly do it, versus saying, hold on, I got to do light tests. Hold on, let me take another shot. Hold on. And you're doing that. And they're by that point, you lost your couple, and they're like, dude, just take
right. They don't have trust in you.
Like, so why do we hire them?
Tell my clients, I'm like, practice, play with it. Like get your kids, get a stuff, whatever it is, like practice. And even though like the first time you use it with a client, you're gonna feel like you're stumbling, you're gonna feel nervous, you're gonna feel like you don't know what you're doing, but that's not gonna come across to them. They don't know that. As long as you are, you're keeping your composure together and you have an idea of what you need to do. But like you said, don't just grab it and be like, well, let's try this in front of your client, because then you are going to look like you don't know what you're doing, and they are going to lose their trust in you.
Yeah, and if you need to practice, don't be afraid to do a trick I do. I go on Facebook, I say, hey, who wants to take pictures in Dallas this Saturday at this time, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll get some DMs like, hey, you really? I'm like, yeah, totally free. I'm working on some stuff right now. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Do you have a black suit? Yeah, wear a black suit. Does she have this? Yeah, wear that. Perfect.
Yep.
And then I get most of my former couples like, yep, we're in.
Yep.
Free pictures from Marvin? Hell yeah, we're doing it.
Exactly.
Because I'll come back and I was like, I want to really practice this. I really want to practice this, because it's like I want to practice this because I know eventually I'm going to charge somebody for that. So when I charge, by the time I charge them for that, I want to be dialed in. That's at that point, it's like riding a bike. It's second nature to me. But as I'm refining it and really getting dialed in on it, I want to make sure that that's where the free stuff will come out. Like, hey, I'm doing it this Saturday, or I'll go to a conference and just try it the entire time. Make it a point. Challenge yourself. Make a checklist of things you want to do, and then just try to challenge. On Monday I'm going to work on double exposure. On Tuesday I'm going to work on off-camera flash, and on Wednesday I'm going to do creative lighting. That's it.
Yeah.
Just about that.
Yeah.
And then take the classes that correlate with it, and just again network and pick people's brains, and have fun being a student. Because when you're in front of your paid clients, you're not a student anymore. You're a business owner.
Right. Yep.
But man, dude, thank you so much for your time. We went way over the time I thought we were going to do. So, no, it's fine. I'm all for it. I was like, I don't want to turn this into a two-parter because we'll keep going. Again, thank you so much. I'm happy to say I get to see you in a few weeks. So I'll definitely welcome you to get some barbecue or something in Texas.
Good.
Yes. But hey, appreciate your time, and thank you again.
Thank you so much.
That's it for this week's show. Again, thanks for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with others. Leave those reviews and check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until then, see you next week.